Hello and welcome to GatherVerse Food Summit, Day 2. And what an amazing introduction from Christopher there, very heartfelt as well. My name is Russell. I'm going to be the moderator for this roundtable discussion. And also, it's great to also have the panelists with us. As I can see, there's technical difficulties going on. So in the meantime, while the technical difficulties happen, let's do the introduction where the roundtable discussion is going to be about feeding all humanity towards global nourishment, sustainability, and food security. So I'm very excited for this roundtable discussion. And we're going to do quick introductions from each of the panelists, depending on who joins us and who not. So we'll start with Alia, then we'll go to Andrea, then we'll go across to James, and then hopefully Dr. Morris and Orestes, as long as they don't have technical difficulties. So over to you, Alia. Please introduce yourself. And also, can I have all other panelists to mute their microphones as well, so we don't have any interference with the discussion. Alia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Russell. My name is Alea Harris. I'm based here in Burbank, California. I am a strategic storytelling consultant, former chef, and my goal in life is to be able to love people into the highest versions of themselves by helping them better participate in their transformations. I do that through leading them through story and helping them lead themselves and lead others and share those stories in corporate environments and from the stage.
Amazing, and thank you for joining us, Alia. Andrea, by the way, I have to say, Andrea, great moderating yesterday. Thank you for moderating the roundtable discussion. But please, for those who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself and do your introduction, basically.
Thank you, Russell. Pleasure to be here. My name is Andrea Camargo. I'm the founder and storyteller of Refi Collective. We are based in Bogota, Colombia, and I studied veterinary medicine, and then I switched into the business world because I saw the connection, or let's say the disconnection between humanity and nature, and the story of food that we tell ourselves. We think food comes from the fridge and from the supermarket, and when you see the reality, it's completely different. So that's why I did that switch, because I wanted to create a business that reconnects us to nature and to that, let's say, oneness that it's surrounding us today. So thank you so much, and happy to listen to all your stories.
Andrea, it's a pleasure having you with us, and thank you for joining us once again as well. James, you are also a person we've seen multiple times, but please introduce yourself to everyone who doesn't know who you are.
Hey, Russell. See, I got your name right this time, right?
Oh, yes, bang on there.
You know, as the mindful guy, right? Focus. So anyways, but thank you so much. And I honestly, I had to wipe my eyes from what Christopher has said. It was just the sentiments, the music. It's all about the connection. It was just beautiful. So I am James Welniak, and I am the director of mindfulness and focus with Cup Advisory. I'm advising clients to unravel and mitigate the riddle of our age. And it's how artificial am I?
Okay.
And this is accomplished with a modernized serenity prayer playbook called A Mindful Relationship with Information. It's a practice and methods and tools that has made AA very, very successful, but we are now in the age of artificial food, ingredients, content, and now we have intelligence. And so I'm also the face of screen addiction, recovery, and prevention. And what I share is that this was me in 2023.
You might want to lift it a little bit higher because the right.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's
and
better.
I could not, guys, I could not stop. In the worst moment of my life as a high performer, former Deloitte, I used to use my laptop on the toilet. I was that kind of a consultant. So I understand what people are going through and how difficult it is to look away. And so I teach my clients how to train your brain and how to get back into oneness. And that was, Andrea, you and I speak the same language, is that when you connect with self, your intuition, use your intuition, people, not your screen. And that's what I teach my clients. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us, James, and pleasure having you with us as well. And thank you for the brief explanation that you gave there. Dr. Morris, please introduce yourself. And obviously, I know who you are, but tell the people, who are you, Dr. Morris?
I am Dr. Messina Morris, Dr. MOM, or Molder of Minds. I am a biomolecular chemist by training. I am a mother of 5 sons.
Wow,
I have
incredible.
one son who has profound autism. I'm a wife of 27 years, an innovator who builds metaversities, but I'm a caregiver. I'm also a special needs sibling. I know what it means to run a household where nutrition is not theoretical, but it is essential for survival. Balancing family and caregiving, as well as leadership and technology, has really shaped how I see global food systems. Feeding humanity is not just a macroeconomic problem for me. It is a maternal, scientific, spiritual, and deeply human one. And when one child in my home doesn't have what he needs, the whole house feels it. And the same is true for humanity. So I am just happy to be here to discuss food. And as a college professor who sees young people who actually live in a food desert in the West End of Atlanta every single day, try to nourish their minds, bodies, and spirits, it's important for them to have a voice and someone who speaks up and advocates for them and for the nutritious things that they need, not just to feed their, like I said, their minds, but their bodies and their souls. Thank you for having me.
I honestly appreciate you joining us, Dr. Morris, and also what you do as a wife and a mother of 5 and everything. So incredible. Orestes, please also introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, Orestes.
Thank you very much for the welcome in Russell. A long time no see. Greetings to all the panelists, and greetings to all the globe of the world that are now tuned in the GatherVerse summit. So my name is Orestes Spirou. I come from Greece. I'm located in the Netherlands. My background is in mechanical engineering, systems thinking, and biosystems engineering, combined with information technology. I'm responsible for the founding of GatherVerse, which is a company located in the Netherlands that is focusing on the digital transformation of across variety of sectors, from agriculture, healthcare, education, and arts. I am a music producer, the drummer and the founder of a rock band called Go Fuzzy. And also I'm a painter myself. Throughout my career, I've changed a lot of jobs. One of the jobs that I had to follow was also a sous chef that I was trying to also deliver my knowledge and all the stories that are coming from my grandmother and my mother, because we are located in Greece. So it's the center of the Mediterranean diet, which is well known as one of the most healthiest diets due to the high polyphenolic level of olive oil and all this type of.
You're making me hungry, Orestes. You're making me hungry.
So I've been exploring the digital transformation of food, but also food as a way for survival, but also a way of creative practices. And I'm really looking forward to explore today's roundtable.
Well, thank you for joining us, Orestes, and your multiple of occupations you had there. Absolutely incredible. And last but not least, I'll introduce myself. My name is Russell. I am the Global Affairs Director at GatherVerse, also the co-founder of Just Verify. And Just Verify is focused on building the trust infrastructure for AI. So we focused on verification and trust when it comes to AI and making sure that it's aligned with human values. And also when it comes to the behavior and the performance of these models, and making sure that's in continuous alignment, both from a humanity point of view, but also from organizations point of view, also individual point of view, basically just values in general in a nutshell. So that's what I do. But let's get straight into the discussion of feeding all humanity towards global nourishment, sustainability, and food security. So Alia, we're going to start with yourself because I can see how ready you are and how enthusiastic you want to get involved. Yeah, there we go, Alia. Come on. Right.
I'm so ready for this. Bring it on, Russell.
All right. Question 1, Alia. How can feeding all humanity truly be achieved when many still face hunger in the world? Over to you.
Well, it's so funny. I don't think I'm going to solve world hunger in the next minute or so, but I will give
God
you
damn
my
it!
thoughts.
Why?
I know that is what everyone was expecting from me on today. I actually think that world hunger it's not a resource issue. It's a heart issue and a mindset issue. The only reason why we are not able to feed everyone is because if we look into the collective heart, I don't think we want to. If we wanted to, as a collective human element, spirits having this human experience, our humanity is saying no. There is competition, which means that I need to have my food, my resources, my things, and build up as high as I can my mountain of riches and food and all of this wonderfulness, because somehow that makes me better, greater, closer to my goals, look better to others. But the problem with that, the problem with leading from a competitive perspective and an ego-led perspective, is that we deny the truth. The truth is that there is no competition when we are able to truly see everyone as equals. So addressing the food issue, yes, we should make sure food is healthy, grown healthily, readily available, food deserts. I'm very aware of that. But for me, getting to the core of the issue is about addressing the human elements of our society that are preventing us from getting on one accord. Those include addressing ego. Those include addressing the need to compete and the scarcity mindset that is prevalent across the world. So if we do that, we are then able to step into a higher perspective, one that understands the truth, which is there is more than enough to go around, and that our job is to make it so. Our job is to share and support the other spirits having human experiences that we come in contact with on a regular basis.
You bring up an interesting point earlier. I mean, I think also, technology could potentially play a good part in this, right? When it comes to blockchain technology and AI and how that can help with this as well when it comes to efficiency of distribution food, and also, when it comes to, shipping containers and all that kind of sort of thing. I definitely think that the technology is going to maybe play a role in this. Could we even potentially... I mean, I've even seen in some cases, people being able to print 3D food off, right? When it comes to 3D printers and being able to eat like a burger, which is not even real, but it's been printed on the 3D printer, and then you've been able to eat it and still get nourishment. Whether that's actually 100% nourishment or not, that's a completely different thing. But my question to you, I guess, to kind of like follow up what you're saying earlier is, in a nutshell, do you believe what I just said could potentially be true as well, or not from your point of view?
I definitely believe what you said that can be true. Technology and AI has a place in the entire supply chain, from farm to mouth. However, I think that the part that we are all ignoring is technology is only as good as its user. AI has innate biases in it against people of color, against women, because of the user input, the data set that it is using to give us our outputs. So I think in conjunction with using AI and tools in technology to move physical goods from place to place, why not think differently as well? Why not be able to use AI tools to help people understand the larger system that they are a part of, help them see the lack of the need for true competition, help them meditate more effectively, help them build communities and change narratives and role play with themselves and the AI tool around what does it truly mean to be the person that I think I am. Because no one wakes up in the morning and says, I am evil and I'm going to take food out of your mouths. No one does that. Well, I don't think most people do that.
No,
What
not
we say is,
not unless you're crazy.
No. So we're just going to put those people like over there. We're not talking about them. We're talking about most people say, I am a good human. And then as soon as you leave church, you cuss out your kids in the parking lot. Or as soon as you finish praying, you walk by that homeless person on the street. Does that mean you're not a good person? No, absolutely not. I still believe you're a good person. But how much better would it be to be fully in alignment with what that means and be given tangible steps, programs that AI can build for you to step into a mindset that makes community, that makes global connection, that makes humanity a higher priority for people on a larger scale? Because then I believe we could better power supply chain technology with better inputs that are more inclusive, that minimize scarcity and help us move to a different place.
Okay, James, let's bring you onto this conversation and thank you. You did bring up some really good points earlier, so thank you for that. But James, I saw you commenting behind the scenes. You know, when I did my 3D printer comment, he was like heavy on protein and lean on fat. James, please join the discussion. What are your thoughts on what me and Ali have said so far, and also the question as well?
Yeah, I think it's a powerful one. And what stands out to me is that, humanity has it in the wrong order. So we prioritize and think that money is a human right, but we're wrong. Nutrition, access to food, real food that's grown from Mother Earth, not processed in a lab. And so when I talk with clients about artificial, we have artificial ingredients. Look what alcohol did to the world. Look what alcohol has done to the world. So you have alcohol, that was the original, the first artificial, and then we have artificial ingredients in medicine. So I actually have my clients do a quick hands raised. How in the last 24 hours, how many of us have consumed an artificial ingredient? Whether that's a supplement, something that was produced in a lab that did not come from the ground. Also, how many of us did we interface with artificial content, a device, a screen? And also, Alaya, you were talking about AI. How many of us right now, we are having a human connection through artificial intelligence? And so we are all artificial. But the question is, back to the original question, we have to treat nutrition, and I mean nutrient dense food as a human right, not money. And I thought it was interesting that money was put first yesterday, because we all think that we're fighting and money doesn't matter. From a spiritual perspective, we created money. Money does not grow from trees. I'm sorry, that's not a thing. Food does, nutrition does. And until we get that reversed, that is our problem. That's how we solve this. It's a mindset.
Yeah, I mean, food is obviously fundamental for every human, doesn't matter who you are.
Real food, Russell, real food.
True, yes. And also at the same time, food is also important, not only just for your nutrition and for your health and everything like that, but also food is fundamentally important for every person on the planet.
Connection too, communal. It's think about, you were just talking about Orestes for Greek. I love Greek food. That's community. That's tradition. That's our heritage, right?
Yeah.
And that's all being lost too, because it's so quick. Because that picture that I showed you guys, I was probably about 99% artificial. I stopped cooking for myself. I stopped going out and picking out food and actually enjoying the process, the creative process, going and getting a recipe book, doing the research. These are the things that I talked about clients, so simple, about just the act of communion around food. And that is lost. And that is a spiritual, that's human, sitting around in a campfire, grilling, chopped rabbits, while we are trying to survive winter. That's real. Not going to the grocery store, as Andrea said. Young people have lost that. They think it's Uber Eats. That's crazy. I'm not kidding. I have a teenage client that and their adult father didn't realize that. And it's like, I don't, you know, I wanted to laugh too, but I'm like, that became what I was. And so my entire body, and it's all about inflammation, guys. So when we introduce foreign objects to our body, like alcohol, I know I was having getting a serious problem with it because I was self-medicating because my nervous system was so messed up because of screen time and phone-based lifestyle. It was taking me down. And that's really what's happening here is that, you know, we have so much artificial in our environment. And you go to other countries, like I was in Brazil. I was in Brazil for 10 days in October. They're 10 years behind the United States. You go to a restaurant and you see touching, you see eye contact, and I don't speak Portuguese. I'm awful. And so I was an observer at the airport, and I just sat in my head and I watched and I studied and I saw, and I was like, it made me sad because the human connection in the United States is so drastically broken because of screens and screen time and the phone-based lifestyle.
I mean, you do bring up an interesting point with obviously processed foods and how everything is processed. And I mean, even here, like, I know there's different regulations, obviously, for different countries too, and how obviously food is regulated. I mean, especially for the UK and the EU is different to the US, for example. But yeah,
it's like high fructose. Like high fructose, for example, is illegal in Brazil. But it's because we're the Midwest. I'm from Ohio. We love our corn, and it's everywhere.
Okay, so let's I'll tell you what, actually, let's bring Andrea into this conversation. Andrea, from your point of view, obviously we've been speaking about many things, right? We've spoken about AI, we've spoken about processed foods, we've spoken about the lovely Brazil, right, and how the lovely food is over there. From your point of view, and Andrea, and you know, you're from South America too. From your point of view, and I'm just going to ask you this specific question as well. What role does micronutrition or nutrient deficiency play in the hidden hunger crisis, and how can that be addressed?
I love this question. Thank you for addressing it. I think there is big connection between the nutrient density of the food we grow and the food we eat and life below the ground. So if we grow food in a desert, even if we have water and nitrogen and all these different let's say elements for the plant to grow, it's completely different from growing it in a rich soil that is connected with mycelium, different microorganisms, because we as humans, probably we are 50% humans and 50% microorganisms, right? So we are kind of symbiont or an organism that collaborates with many millions of others in the same moment we are speaking. And so if we keep making our food more artificial, we're gonna start losing that microbiome that connects us to a healthy ecosystem. And so bringing a little bit of science into the conversation and the discoveries that we've made into regenerative agriculture, for example, which are very interesting because an apple grown in a regenerative soil that doesn't use artificial chemicals, but creates this cycle of getting the nutrients from the air, because in the air we have most of it's nitrogen. So plants kind of bring this nitrogen to the ground. It is processed, and the plants also, let's say, they get the sugars from the microorganisms, and then they start exchanging information. They exchange energy. They exchange these nutrients that increase the density and the nutrition of the food we eat. So if we want to be healthy and keep enjoying delicious food, because healthy food is more tasty as well.
That is true.
eating this delicious food. And in Latin America, we have very, very fertile soils, but they are being degraded because we want to put soybean to feed the cows of other nations. And these cows are eaten by maybe 2% of the population. So as Leia said, kind of we are creating this system that creates accumulation, scarcity, in order to trade and create a market economy that only benefits some of the actors. And then that system reinforces the tragedy of the commons. And so we start creating our ecosystem because some people want to have all this abundance accumulated. But it's like if one tree of the whole forest wants to accumulate all the carbon, then all the forest dies. It has to be the energy has to be decentralized and distributed. And I think this is kind of the mindset shift we need to start to bring into the conversation in our food systems.
No, I completely agree with that. And it just makes me think about the whole organic versus non-organic as well. And also it makes me think about when I work out at the gym and that, I want to be, for example, I like eggs, right? Because there's a lot of protein in them. And I want to make sure that I get the protein and the nutrients in. And if I don't have fresh eggs or fresh chicken or the right balance in my diet, right, that can misalign my body, and then it's like, okay, well, I haven't got enough nutrients now to repair the muscles, so I need to get the right nutrients. And so when you're talking about organic and non-organic, or even redistributing the system, like how you're saying, that is actually extremely important. And hopefully we can get less of this processed stuff out. I mean, it even makes me think, actually, sorry, just to kind of go off a little bit on a tangent as well, but it also makes me think about bottled water and how there's mostly plastic in bottles of water versus, having water fresh out the lake or whatever, or even just filtered through the actual pipes. So again, to your point, Andrew, I completely agree with what you're saying. And we do need to redo the system, so to speak, in terms of, okay, how can we get rid of this, lot of this process out? How can we make it more organic, more higher protein, so to speak, or higher nutrients when it comes to vitamins and minerals? And how can we make sure we get that in our bodies? I completely agree with you, Andrea. Orestes, sorry, what do you want to say, Andrea?
No, I just wanted to add that food is also kind of, it depends of all of us, the definition of food. For example, I don't eat animals or animal-based foods. For more than 10 years, I've been plant-based.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so for me, the food comes from the ground, but for other people, it comes from animals. For other people, it comes from mushrooms. So it's also kind of, how do we define food? And that also comes part of our culture and ourselves.
That is very true. And thank you for sharing it, Andrea. And obviously, I was just sharing my personal experience, of course. This is my personal point of view. But Orestes, let's bring you into this conversation. What role does micronutrient deficiency play in the hidden hunger crisis, and how can that be addressed from the Greek side of things and from your point of view as a professional chef, from your expertise?
Yeah, I'm not longer a chef. I used to do that in order to obtain some income to continue studying here and support myself. But I've been cooking a lot throughout my career, and it was a way to support myself. Yes, we have seen that currently the food systems are in their limits. There are resource scarcity and climatary change are pushing the system, combined with the geopolitical crisis, into their limits. So there are multiple ways to tackle this type of micronutrient deficiency. First of all, combining archaeological knowledge from societies that they are living in agricultural areas is the first way. Extreme monocropping practices they have led us to where we are now by obtaining all the nutrients from Mother Earth and also not incorporating intercropping practices in order to leverage and regain the inputs from the earth to our end products. I'm pretty sure that knowledge, and more specifically, I will bring a small example. Back in the days, I used to learn all the recipes from my mother and my grandma, as I told you, which were based on historical, let's say, recipes that they have been out in the Greek history, either from, let's say, religious practices. For example, fasting for 40 days before Easter, or obtain put in place a diet that takes the leverage of all nutrients and all combination. For example, rice and lentils, mushrooms, wild herbs collected from the mountain, either for teas or like to put them into Greek pies, as we say. So I believe in a system that it's sustainably driven, based on regenerative agriculture, but also the combination of regenerative agriculture with the current and future technological disruptions. When I'm referring to technological disruptions, I'm referring to AR, AI, why not quantum computing also, in sense of sensing and also predicting the future of sustainable crops and also nutrients and combination of nutrients. And as I told you, the small example that I want also to bring was that we have to learn how to use also technology to create recipes. For example, you might use AI to create recipes based on an image from the leftover food that you have at your fridge, and a text prompt in an AI chatbot that please provide me the right combinations in order to detox from this type of bad habit, as James mentioned before. So I really believe in a circular approach that has to be taken. And also we have to preserve the knowledge that has been lost, either for cultivation of mushrooms or for cultivation of other crops. I wanted to conclude, I was very lucky that I've been here in Wageningen, which is the center of the agricultural knowledge, because we have one of the greatest agricultural ranked universities, and I've been very lucky to learn people and cultures from all around the world, and also cook from all the places of the world, from Africa, Curacao, Paramaribo, the Amazon, Colombia, Peru, all the nationalities. So everyone had their own story to bring with the food. So we're talking about connection, as you mentioned earlier, and also what is the right thing to do in order for not a single soul to be starving in the world.
I first of all, there was a lot said there, but second of all, I do believe what you're saying is very correct, right? Can AI potentially come up with new sort of recipes that you have just from your fridge, like how you're saying, or could it even potentially solve issues when it comes to how we can get rid of the bad nutrients and stuff, which is included inside these processed foods? Could AI potentially solve that as well, like James was saying earlier? So I do think that technology could potentially play a big role here, but then the question is kind of like, it's kind of like how you use AI, not potentially, and it's also the data that it's trained on too, but that's a whole nother thing. But the point I'm saying is in your day-to-day life and in your personal life, at least from a personal level, you can at least be able to, decide from your point of view, okay, what have I got here? Okay, I got butter, milk, flour, whatever. All right, cool. I can make some bread, for example, right? So I completely agree with what you're saying. But yeah, there's a lot that kind of goes into that of how do we solve this massive issue. So Dr. Morris, let's bring you on this conversation. A lot has been said so far. I know you did disconnect briefly, but obviously you're back with us once again, and hopefully you won't have any more technical difficulties, of course. But the question for you, Dr. Morris, is how can crisis-proof food systems be built around the world for the long run? So we've been speaking about technology and AI and stuff like that. Could that potentially be the solution to this? Or could it potentially be like how Andrew was saying earlier, where we need to recreate the systems, redistribute it, and be able to have more, nutrients, so to speak, from the ground? Like, what are your thoughts on everything that's been discussed, and also this particular question?
Honestly, we are overfed in the United States, to be honest, but we are undernourished. So micro uh, nutrient deficiency does play a huge role. As a mother to a son who has autism, I see how much the need for nutrient dense food exists. So, as much as my child may eat or have limited or sensory feeding needs, just like most people, we tend to eat the things that we love. That doesn't mean that we're getting the nutrients that we actually need from them. And so the mirror of the world that we see is based on all these neural connections that don't exist because there's brain fog, there is attention deficits, there's focus issues, there's a lack of persistence in completing day-to-day tasks or executive functioning, including stamina and just mental, exhaustion that I see as an
Mm,
educator, plays out in real time because while we're fed, we're malnourished in a lot of
yeah.
ways. And so when you think about all of the ways that we've tried to fortify foods, that has not been able to actually crisis proof our food systems.
Hmm.
One, we need to focus more on decentralizing food systems and making sure that there aren't single points of failure within regional food hubs, that we start building different types of infrastructure and train people on how to grow their own foods and sustain their own land. I think we have moved so far from understanding where food comes from and how it actually feeds us. And as a chemist, I think it's really important to realize that everything that you interact with in your actual natural environment does affect your cells. It does affect your biology. And we have somehow forgotten that everything that we ingest or anything that we touch, whether it is being transdermal, so like lotions you put on, soaps you put on, the makeup that I even might have on my face, to things that your children are exposed to in terms of the toys that they play with and the dyes that
Mm,
are in their candies or like autism, likes to chew on things or have fidgets or those kinds of things. You just think about the chemicals that we use in our home, the air fresheners, the candles, the all of these things are also being ingested into our body and they are creating and blocking our abilities to absorb certain nutrients. And I had an opportunity to do dissolution studies and look at leaky gut syndrome as a cause of um, all of the different ailments that we have from Parkinson's to autism to ADHD. And it showed that we're not even able to absorb the actual pure D3 or pure B12 vitamins that we have without any
wow.
help from certain digestive enzymes because we're not activating the enzymes that our bodies need because
Mm,
they're being blocked by other things that we ingest or that are in our environment. So there's so many different layers to why we need to really focus on food. We need to
hmm.
focus on it to just continue to build the mental, intellectual capacity that human beings have to be able to live in community, to lower violence, to have to be one in one, one with each other. But for even education's sake, I see young kids that are just battling mental things that are beyond their control, but they don't control the food that they eat. And so we've got
Mm,
to do a better job as adults, as the next generation, making sure that they are getting what they need and that they understand what a healthy plate means and that it's not noodles, not ramen.
Yeah, sorry, I had to laugh at the noodles part because I have done that, so I can't say I
No,
haven't.
I
'Cause
mean,
I
I'm
have.
guilty. I'm guilty. I'm super guilty. But
Yeah.
I mean, I also taught biology, organismal form and function, and I had young women who didn't even understand that like the fish that they were dissecting was actually like, this is fish. They were like, "Wow, what do you mean this is fish?" Because they had never seen fish or a whole chicken or you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
they'd never seen that. Chicken to
yeah,
them was like chicken nuggets or, like, a wing was like they couldn't they it didn't translate, and so we have come there's really a big divide in kids understanding where food comes from and why, um, it is what it is. They really do think just like they feel like money comes out of ATM, they really do think that, um, food just kind of is in a store, right? Or
yeah,
is in a
yeah.
box.
Or like how James says, money doesn't grow on trees, but they think it grows on trees.
They think it grows somewhere in buckets or whatever.
Well, thank you for sharing, Dr. Morris. And I do agree with you 100%. And also it just makes me think, I think all of us do it though. All of us just get so busy in our everyday lives that we just don't even think about the ingredients of what we're eating or what we're doing. We're just like, all right, this goes into the microwave. It can be done within 2 minutes. I'm just going to shut this on. Ping, it's done. Have the meal, and the next thing you know, we don't even know what we've just eaten or what we've ingested. So, it happens all the time, Dr. Morris. So, thank you for sharing that. And my next question, this is for you, Alia, which is: how can humanity balance the need for increased food production with regenerative agricultural practices that can withstand climate volatility? So, very interesting question. I would say it's a very specific question. So this might be a little bit challenging, Alia. So I'll hand this question to you and see how you can answer this question.
Russell, I know we've just met, but I never back down from a challenge.
Oh, Alia, okay.
So this, as I said earlier, I'm in California in the Los Angeles area, and it amazes me how we can live on someone else's land and ignore the traditions that have kept that land healthy for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So I'm acutely aware, but you may be aware that we just had horrible fires in Southern California.
Yes.
Horrible. And many communities lost their homes in the Palisades and Altadena, and there are lots of finger pointing. But one of the things that stuck out to me was the fact that before the fires happened, we had decreased and in some situations banned the act of controlled burns. We thought, in our technologically advanced opinion, they were bad and wrong, unnecessary, expensive, whatever it was. Well, our land came from Native Americans, and they have practiced controlled burning for generations. They knew how to take care of the land, how to live with it, how to avoid it retaliating against them. So what did we do? We ignored them completely because we are smarter, because we have technology. And what did it do to us? Killed people, burned down homes, erased generational wealth. So when you ask me, how can humanity balance the need for increased food production and regenerative agricultural practices, it's actually not that complicated. Go back to what people were doing before. The people that actually knew how to run the land, the people who were more in communion with nature, its cycles, its rhythm. Climate volatility might actually decrease when that happens, right?
Okay.
And we might actually see that volatility is systemic and it goes on a cycle. It's cyclical, but we've ignored the patterns. We build cities when levees break and thousands die because we've decided we need to live there. Although I love New Orleans, right? So it's really about using the wisdom of people that we have marginalized, realizing our own error and marginalizing them as communities and as people, eating a little bit of humble pie and going back to what they have been doing and telling us to do for hundreds of years.
No, yeah, you do have a very good point, and you know, maybe even it could be introduced into the modern day of like, okay, how do we combine what's happened in the past with the modern day and combine that together into creating, I guess, the sustainable future, so to speak, of food within Los Angeles. So we are running out of time though, so I'm gonna have to move on, and I'm gonna do one final question for every single person on the panel, and I'm gonna just ask one simple question, which is, within, you know, less than, let's say, actually, let's just do one word. Within one word, I'm gonna make this a little bit more challenging because Aaliyah, you know, you like a challenging question. So, in one word, what do you want to see for the future of food? Is it that, you know, food everywhere? Oh, actually, let's do more than one word. Let's do like a sentence. Like, as in, do you want to see food everywhere? Do you want to have like the technology to be able to help with food? Like, within one sentence, basically, what would you like to see for the future of food? So we'll go. Actually, no, we're not going to start with you, Alia. We're going to go over to Dr. Morris, if she's available, because I can see that she's working right now. So
Listen, because I am taking notes. I am an educator, so I'm always going to be taking notes on what everyone's saying and
Fabulous.
researching in the background.
Love
But the thing that I want to look forward to for the future of food is banning harmful chemicals that we know are harmful. We know red
Facts.
food is harmful. We
Facts,
know
Dr. Morris.
that there are carcinogens in certain foods, and in other nations they don't have them. My husband's from Jamaica, and so I think about the purity of his food. Every time I go home with him, I lose a good 10 pounds. And so I wonder, you know, so much about how much harm we're causing ourselves and how that is also going to translate to our own personal demise. So for me, bring back caring about what's in our food, literally.
Well, Dr. Morris, I've got to move on, but thank you very much. That was more than one sentence, but I really appreciate your sentiments there, because those you're speaking absolute facts right there. Orestes, what's your point of view on this? What's, in one sentence, what do you want to see in the future of food? Dr. Morris's is ban, you know, all the bad chemicals that we have in our foods. What's your point of view, Orestes?
Regenerative, right?
Regenerative.
One word.
Orestes taking the challenge of one word. Okay.
but that's not a simple question to answer with one word, but regenerative captures the whole perspective of the domain. For sure, less plant protection products, because as we might have seen, plant protection products, they have risen also globally the ratios of neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, as you mentioned earlier, and also dementia. So yeah, I think regenerative and fair, and I think those words can describe it better.
Orestes, completely agree. James, one sentence, please.
I would say nutrient dense civil rights globally.
You don't even need to say anything more, James. That does it in one sentence. Congratulations to you. Andrea, what's your thoughts in one sentence? What do you want to see in the future for food? Or the future of food, I mean.
I would say reciprocity. Reciprocity to the land, to animals, to plants, to each other, because most of the territories that produce our food, we tag them as poor, but are the most abundant places of the world. So we need to feel that reciprocity with them, with the territory and the people.
Absolutely, Andrea. And last but not least, Alia, you're going to finish us off. So what is the sentence from your side?
I'm going to do the one word as well. Equanimity.
Oh,
I would
okay.
like equanimity.
Okay. And do you want to do the sentence too?
No, well, yes, because we have 1 minute. So what equanimity means for me is thoughtful, reflective, balanced action when it comes to decision making around our food and food systems.
Oh, well, thank you very much, panelists. It's been an absolute pleasure having each and every one of you on the stage. Please do go and give them a follow on LinkedIn. Check them out. And also, thank you to each and every one of you. Also, thank you, audience, for watching over GatherVerse.live. And also, thank you to our sponsors at Pico for also sponsoring us and being able to support us in our summits. And up next, I believe we're going to be having a fireside chat. So that'll be coming up next for you. And that is it for this roundtable discussion. So our gather was well, and I will see you very shortly. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.